Welcome to the Road to InfoComm podcast. I'm Dorian Taylor.
And I'm Samantha Powell.
InfoComm 2023 is coming up fast, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about immersive experiences.
That's right. We'll be checking in with Jamie Reilly of Moment Factory to chat about a new immersive experience that promises to be one of the biggest highlights of the show.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. I'm also really looking forward to this one, Sam. eSports Live is another all-new exhibit for the gaming industry, and we'll be talking with Brad Sousa from AVI Systems to tell us all about it.
Wonderful. And one of the manufacturers involved with that eSports Live experience is Sony. And they've got a whole lot going on at InfoComm this year. So we'll catch up with Rich Ventura to hear all about it.
It's going to be a great episode. Let's get the show on the road.
All right, Dorian. We're another week closer to InfoComm. Can I get a vibe check from you?
Yeah, the vibes are good these days. This is actually my first year at Avixa, so it's been really cool to see the show come together over the year, and I'm really excited to see it all actually come together in Orlando. It's going to be really cool, and I'm excited for all the AV tweeps to see all the cool things we have in store for them. But yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling the same way. I can say for my very first InfoComm, it was such a thrilling and exciting experience, and just being around, as you said, all of our AV tweeps and colleagues and friends. It's just a wonderful feeling just to be at the show together. For me, it's been really exciting to see what everybody's been working on, and everything behind the scenes, seeing it all come together and learning about all of the new and exciting experiences and exhibits that are going to be there. So there's just so much to do and see. So I'm just really excited, and I can't wait. It's almost here.
Yeah, that's right. And one of these things to be excited about is the interactive experience by Moment Factory, powered by nanolumens. It's going to be like nothing we've ever seen at InfoComm before.
Definitely. And one of the brilliant minds behind it all is Jamie Reilly, the general manager of Moment Factory events. So our colleague Jabran Nassef sat down with Jamie to learn more about what visitors can expect.
Hello, everyone. I'm joined by Jamie Reilly, the general manager of Moment Factory, and we've got a new experience at InfoComm this year that we're really excited to learn about. So, Jamie, how are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, it's great to have you. We're super excited about this, and we can't wait for InfoComm. So it's coming up really fast, and there's going to be a new interactive experience zone at the show. So could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, absolutely. We're very, very excited to be collaborating for the first time with InfoComm and building a unique, what we're currently calling playful interactive installation. And the idea is really to showcase not only what is possible with multimedia, but really to showcase through the technology how you can create various forms of engagement, how we can create collective emotions, right? Because what we do at Moment Factory is really about how do we bring people together to live moments together through the means of technology. So we will be installing this interactive installation where through the 3 days that we will be at InfoComm, we'll have different activations. So the idea is really to utilize the infrastructure that we will have to create various forms of engagements, but also to continuously be surprising the audiences that will be at InfoComm, because every day will be a different experience. So we're hoping that people who came on the first day will want to come back on the second and Thursday to see how the experience is evolving, to really showcase the versatility of multimedia.
That sounds amazing. And, we can't wait to check it out. And by the way, people tuning in, it's the interactive experience created by Moment Factory, powered by nanolumens. So behind the scenes, can you tell us what your team is doing right now to prepare for this experience?
Yes. So there's a number of elements and factors that we go through, obviously, as we go through all of our creative endeavors and all of our projects. So we have a creative team that is really focusing on what the look and feel and what the experience is. We have a technical team that is obviously making sure and working with nanolumens, but all of our other equipment suppliers to make sure we have all of the infrastructure, the system, and the hardware to operate our installation, but also streamline, right? It's when you're coming in and doing a 3-day activation, we also don't want to be setting up for 10 days, right? We need to be efficient. So we're also working really hard on implementing and finding those efficiencies. And then, of course, we have our interactive team that is working really hard at doing all of what we call the back end, right? So doing all of the development so that the interactive component of what we're doing, and as it's evolving through each days, is really well programmed and developed and coded so that, you know, it's we're optimizing the output into creative reality. And then we also have a scenic team because yes, we do utilize technology. We work in technology with technology in all of our projects, but we're also about having people forget about the technology and getting lost in a sense of wonder and magic. So we have a scenic team that will make sure that the look and feel makes you forget that you're really interacting with an LED screen, but that you feel somewhere transported into a completely different world and environment.
That's incredible. And, you know, the demand for immersive experiences has only grown in recent years. So why and how do you think it's grown so much? What is your perspective around it?
I think for me, there are two main reasons why these immersive and interactive experiences have gained in popularity. And by the way, I do also believe that we're just at the beginning of how these experiences will continue to evolve. And the first reason is once you evolve from a passive participation to an active one, so where you can influence the output of something, it really creates long-lasting memories, right? So the impact you have on a user, if you're just passive and consuming content versus interacting with the content and influencing it, creates much more meaningful moments and emotions. So I think that's really part of the one of the key factors why they're gaining in popularity. And the second one is that even though all of these experiences are various forms of collective experiences, right? But where I think it creates a unique opportunity in what we can do with multimedia and that sense of immersiveness is still create a unique user experience. So you can really personalize your own experience, even though there are many people and users that can come and experience it. Each experience will be unique to the user. And I think that notion of having something that is personalized to you is something that is growing in demand, right? And in the very ever-changing, fast-paced world that we live in, where we're consuming so much information, that you can go and have and experience something that is collective but still unique to how you want to interact with the content is really quite powerful. And I would add to that, the possibilities when you think of the history of entertainment, where we've consumed entertainment has been in very traditional formats, a theater, a big top, if you think of circuses or an arena. And now that you think of what you can do with immersive experiences in multimedia, you can really transpose that to endless canvases, from airports to public spaces to corporate lobbies, and really change how you're interacting all of these areas where we would normally think of them as just purely transactional, and that you can now go through these experiences and enjoy and consume entertainment. And I think we're going to see the expansion of not just immersive experiences, but where we're experiencing these will completely evolve in the years to come, because the possibilities become endless.
Yeah, and that's great. You're almost a stepping stone into this new era of, interactive, immersive experiences. So it's super exciting. So, to close this off, I have one last question. So what advice do you have for someone who might be attending InfoComm for the first time?
Yes, it's a very good question, and I think a question that everybody should be asking themselves before going to InfoComm, like really what is it people want to take out of it? And I think when you think, of course, there are, I'm sure the people who will go at InfoComm are well versed into technical worlds, AV worlds, and so on and so forth. But I guess that the best recommendation I could give would be to try to look at it with fresh eyes, because I think the opportunity that a conference like InfoComm offers is really to get to know about new trends, new technologies. So even though we're all experts in what we do, we should all go into InfoComm with an open mind and a humble heart, and just try to make sure you're talking, interacting, learning from others, because that's really what we've missed out of through the pandemic. And now, we're back where we can have these moments and together, and just to continue to collaborate, and elevate the world in which we work. And I think that, we all play a part in that. And I think that's certainly how I will be going into InfoComm. And that's what I would suggest to anybody going there. Might it be somebody who's been there for last 20 years or somebody who's going for the first time.
Excellent. Everyone listening, please take a note. That's incredible advice. And we're very excited to bring this interactive experience to InfoComm. Make sure to say hi to Jamie at InfoComm. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
All right, Sam, I think I mentioned it last time, but did I tell you I'm a bit of a gamer?
You did mention that, so I need to know what game you're hooked on right now.
Well, I'm actually in between games right now, but I just finished playing The Last of Us. I don't know if you watched the zombie show that just came out recently on HBO, but it's a fantastic show, even better video game. I'm also really looking forward to the new Zelda game that's coming out. It looks really good. It's getting great reviews, but that's the kind of game that takes some time and dedication, so that might have to wait until after InfoComm. But yeah, what about you? Do you play any games or have any childhood favorites?
Oh, let's see. Well, I'm always late to the game, so I've still yet to see The Last of Us. So that's on my bucket list. But Zelda, oh my gosh, will always hold a special place in my heart. I remember when we first got the game growing up. I don't remember if the Game Boy or if it was Nintendo. But, the whole time I'm playing, I'm like, all right, I'm Zelda. I think I'm doing something with my sword. And it wasn't until years later that I found out the whole time, like, I was Link. Like, there was
I remember
Zelda,
thinking that for a while, too.
Right? I feel like I just recently found that out. And because I stink at playing games, I never rescued Zelda. So
she's still out there waiting for you.
She is still waiting. But that iconic song, like, will stay in my heart. And if, we could still do those ringtones, like, on the phone and not be lame, I would do that in a heartbeat.
You should do it anyways.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. So if you see me at InfoComm and you hear that song, just this is why this is happening. But, eSports has exploded in recent years, and there are a lot of gamers out there that get to do this for a living. Like, they get paid to do this stuff competitively. So clearly, Dorian, I think you and I need to figure out how we could make this a potential side gig.
Yeah, this is a real thing, believe it or not. People are out here living my dream, but it's really cool. This is actually one of the biggest growth areas in AV as well. And, if you think about it, it has responsive displays, booming audio and shoutcasting, low latency networks. It's really a feast for AV and for IT professionals too.
Definitely, which means it's perfect for a brand new exhibit at InfoComm called eSports Live.
Exactly, and you probably could have guessed, but I'm not the only gamer here at AVIXA. Our colleague Charles Huro had the opportunity to sit down with Brad Sousa and to talk about the all-new eSports experience. So let's check it out.
I'm joined now by Brad Sousa, the Chief Technology Officer at AVI Systems, and we're going to talk about a brand new esports experience at InfoComm. We can't wait to check it out. Brad, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Charles. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Well, I wanted to talk to you about gaming because I'm a gamer myself. I love gaming.
Nice.
I've been gaming for years, and I'm really excited to check out the esports experience at InfoComm. So tell me, why esports and why now for this experience on the showroom floor?
Yeah, so it's a great venue to be at. Here's one of the things that we're seeing. Esports on its own has been a emerging trend, kind of a burgeoning sector in our industry. And one of the reasons why I think our industry wants it to take off, because we're excited about it, is because esports brings together all sorts of disciplines out of our industry. You've got live media and production, you got front of house audio, you got lighting, you got streaming, you've got media over IP, all these different disciplines that we think are really awesome. Esports is one of those killer applications that brings all of them together. And I think that's one of the reasons why people get so excited about it.
I agree. There's just a lot going on with all of the experience when it comes to gaming and esports. I mean, like you said, you can just be in there and just in the front of house. You can go to a concert and that's pretty much the only crew you're going to find, except for the stage crew. You know, you go to a movie set, you might find a couple of these, crews on the actual set. But when you go to esports gaming experience or an event or some kind of competition, you're going to find everything streaming, which is residential and business. So can you give us a little preview of what visitors can expect when they go to these experiences and when they go to InfoComm?
Yeah, so let's talk about eSports Live as the venue itself. There's actually 4 specific stages within this one venue, and visitors and guests can interact with leaders and technologies in any of these stages. The whole idea is that it's focused specifically on collegiate esports, and there's a reason behind that. There's going to be a handful of pro esports venues built out around the planet this year. But for every one of those, there's literally dozens of collegiate esports venues that are going to be delivered to customers. So the real boom in the esports space is at the collegiate level. And colleges and universities are looking for help on how to solve that problem. How do I create a home field as well as an online community, a tribe of believers and followers that are into what we're doing and creating that social connection? So all of those tools that you need to do that are going to be represented at this one venue. So let me talk about those stages real quick. There's a live gaming stage, and that'll host multiple college esports teams that'll be doing live 3-on-3 competition there at the venue. You get a chance to see it firsthand, as well as talk with the athletes and discover the different technologies needed to create a competitive gaming environment. What workstations, what media, what cameras and lighting, what furniture do you really need to have in order to make all of that work? There's a live shoutcaster stage. Now, as a gamer, you get it. Shoutcasters are the commentators and the play-by-play analysts that are active in an esports competition. Well, that shoutcaster booth will be calling the game as the athletes are playing live. It'll also be a podcast studio for live podcasts. It'll be a place where we can have conversations around technologies and ideas. You can also sit behind the shoutcast booth when it's not on air and take a couple of selfies. That'll be kind of cool to do there. There'll be a live production stage, and that live production stage is all around what do you need to do to create that online community? How do you create those followers for your particular school and stream in Twitch or YouTube or wherever it is that you want to go? And there you can get your hands on not only the technology, but talk to the producers, the directors, the engineers that are designing and delivering on those environments for collegiate esports. And then lastly, there'll be a coaches stage. And the coaches stage will have varsity collegiate esports coaches there. There'll be thought leaders in the industry there. We'll be doing keynotes on the technology of collegiate esports, as well as keynotes on the business of collegiate esports and how collegiate esports has changed the admissions and recruiting models for a lot of colleges and universities these days.
Yeah, you kind of make me feel like I need to go back to college. I might be in my mid-30s, but I'm never too young, right?
Exactly.
With this show coming up and with InfoComm collaborating with the show, what are you most excited about in regards to this exhibit?
So I think the coolest thing about this exhibit is that it's going to be showcasing a proven design, like an industry reference design that's been delivered to multiple schools. It's been proven to help schools that are first-time rookie teams get established and level up. It's been proven to help collegiate teams that have been in the esports space for a while really create that followership and level up and become championship teams. And it's not about just talking about it. It's all active. You can participate in it. In fact, on Friday, there's going to be availability to those in the industry who want to compete with each other. We're going to do a live industry-based or industry-facing grudge match. Come, bring your best game. Let's play together on stage, and we'll stream it over Twitch. Everybody can watch you do it. So it's really about creating that community. It's going to be awesome.
Be careful. I don't want to make them look silly out there, right? We're trying to instill hope.
Dude, I'm not playing because my active game time on something like Rocket League's like 10 seconds, right?
There you go.
You'll get out there and compete. Somebody like me, maybe not so much.
Well, I'm sure this experience is going to bring a lot of new faces to InfoComm this year. So let me ask you this. What advice would you give someone who's attending the show for the very first time?
Wow, very first time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's what I think I would share with you. First of all, I would say if you're a first-timer to InfoComm, plan on being exhausted by the end of the week because it is so much that you're going to want to engage in. And then I would encourage you to have a really good plan ahead of time. So think about the technologies that are must-see for you and map out how you're going to go visit them, and then intentionally block out time to discover things you just had no idea about because there's so much there. And I think the second thing I would encourage new timers to InfoComm to think about is you've got a design challenge, or maybe a customer's handed you a problem they need you to solve for them, a technology problem you need to solve. Bring 2 or 3 of those with you to the show and look for people who have been in the industry, people like me, like you, people who have been in the industry for a while, and have the conversation with them. If you can get 10 or 15 minutes on the show floor with somebody who's a subject matter expert on that topic, you'll not only learn about the technology that you need to solve the problem, but you'll get firsthand experiences from people who have done it ahead of you. So plan on having those conversations so that the experience there is more than just about the tech. It's really about how you solve problems with customers.
Pretty much. I remember my first time going to InfoComm, and it was a very, very, exciting experience. I'm a con goer myself, going to anime cons, Comic Cons, and going to InfoComm was something I was really excited about. And by the end of the trip, I was like, oh my goodness, there was a lot of information, technology. I mean, it was awesome, but it is a lot, and you definitely want to plan your time so that you can really get the most out of it and really enjoy your time there.
Yeah, your feet hurt, your head hurts. I mean, there's just so much to take in, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes it so cool.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to visiting the eSports X Live at InfoComm real soon, and make sure, you save a spot for me, okay? Because I need to get that trophy.
Yeah, buddy. Look for you there. Thanks.
Thanks, Brad.
Sony is a household name around the world, and every year we know we can expect to see some amazing technology from them at InfoComm.
Absolutely. There's always something eye-catching at their booth as you surf around the show floor, and their displays are always top-notch.
Exactly. So what can we expect to see from them this year? Well, Mark Metzger returns to chat with Rich Ventura of Sony.
Well, we are talking all things immersive today on the Road to InfoComm podcast. So for our next guest, we're very excited to be joined by Rich Ventura, Vice President at Sony, to hear more about their plans for InfoComm. Rich, thank you for joining us. How are you today?
We're doing great. I think we're down to, about 4 or 5 weeks till InfoComm, so everybody's in a mad dash getting ready.
I know, yes. Summer is finally right around the corner, which means InfoComm is right around the corner, and we are in the same boat, full on InfoComm at this point. So, but we really appreciate the time. Thank you for being here. I know that Sony, like you were saying, is going to be very busy at InfoComm. Immersive technology, big focal point of the show as a whole, and Sony in particular too. So we'd love to know, what are some of the immersive exhibits that Sony is going to be involved with that we can expect at InfoComm?
Well, everything's around a connected experience. So everything we're doing is, if you look at the way we've all looked at trade shows or we've done events in the past, it's always been, here's my wares, bio, right? And what we noticed a few years back is it needed to be much more about the experience. It needed to show people how the products, the platforms, the portfolios all work together. And last year we made a huge statement in the industry, and we had around different types of solutions with signage and applications, and we had a lot of speaking going in our booth. We actually had a whole stage and lots of conversations going on, and it was all about the experiences within AV, whether it's tech experiences or even DEI, and we really looked at a lot of those things. As we looked at this year's show, we wanted to continue that message with the integrations we have with our partners and our technology, but take it even to another level. So you're going to see in our booth, we have an auditorium environment. We have a collaboration environment. And in a space I'm really excited for everyone to see is a virtual production environment. And everything is around the needs and wants of all of our customers, of the market, the end users, the integrators, you name it, the consultants, but also how we can push the envelope of our technology and show not a what if, but what you can do with the technology. So these experiences are going to include cameras, direct view LED, large format displays, projectors, integration with different solutions from different partners, whether they're software companies, hardware companies. We're pretty excited. And so it's not just a one-trick pony type of experience. You're going to be able to bounce from experience to experience to experience. You'll even see a collaboration space that's designed for demo centers and these exhibition centers that our customers are building up for to bring their clients through. And don't forget, there's also audio. So you're going to see a lot around audio and immersing audio into the experience as well from Sony.
Yeah, well, the booth is going to be very, very busy. I certainly think virtual production, it's amazing, yeah, in 2 or 3 years, just how far that's come and become really a staple of so many other manufacturers as well. One area of interest is conferencing, obviously for the pro AV industry as a whole, but Sony's going to have a unique conferencing exhibit at the booth too. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, what we're going to do is, with conferencing, we're looking at it really 3 different ways. First off, we're looking at the same way everyone else is doing, that's with Microsoft Teams rooms and MTRs. So we will have an MTR configuration, and it's not a Sony-only configuration. It's working really closely with our friends at Crestron. So it's going to be a very... I'm pretty excited about how the configuration is going to come together. And not only will it be showing the MTR, but also it's going to show that when the conference room is not being used, those screens should never be blank. And so we're going to be running digital signage on that with our partners at Corbett. So that's one configuration. Then you go over to the next configuration, is more of a BYOD type of conferencing. And this is working with our friends at Barco ClickShare and Nariva and SkyKit. And so we're showing that you can have a solution if you don't want to do a Microsoft Teams room, but you still want to have that collaboration experience and bring your laptop in, plug it in, off and running. But once again, when the screens aren't running, why should they be, when no one's in the room, why should they be blank all the time? You can have the option of digital signage, which we'll have with SkyKit. And the third is this collaboration center experience type environment that we're working with our friends over at SkyKit. Excuse me. Over at T1V, and that's going to be tying in T1V's Think Hub with a Sony direct view LED interactive solution. So we're really excited about showcasing this at the show.
Yeah, and something that you mentioned with each one of those solutions was this idea of partnership. And I know that Sony's been at work developing a partner ecosystem. Could you tell us a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, last year we announced our Alliance Partner Program. And we started the program with roughly about 10 companies in the maiden organization, the beginning organization. And the focus was to move away from the traditional, let's have a marketing program, we list all these logos on the wall, and we kumbaya and go from there. The whole goal was, how do we build viable solutions and business and integrations so that our partners, our customers, our consultants, our designers, you name them, all can know these products work well together and that they are really strong solutions. So we started with those 10. You're going to see in our booth, I think we have roughly 15 to almost 20 companies running our booth this year, whether it's digital signage, collaboration, video conferencing, virtual production, the auditorium. You're going to see some really amazing content that's been created from one of our content partners that's actually AI generated, which is going to be pretty exciting to see. You're going to see an amazing wayfinding system that's not just the touch at the display, but it'll also interact at the mobile device level. You're going to see just a lot of stuff going on, and that doesn't even include if you go to our spatial reality display, and we have all these different software partners that have developed their applications to run on that as well. So you're going to see a pretty heavy focus on these alliances, these partnerships to help drive the industry forward.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's really neat to see that it's not just the Sony booth, but yeah, it really is that partner ecosystem, like you were saying. Something else I noticed about the Sony booth at ISE this year was an emphasis on sustainability. And I'm glad to hear that's going to be a part of your plans for InfoComm as well. So can you tell us a little bit, what are some of the new developments that Sony has had related to sustainability since the last time we were all together at InfoComm?
Well, the story doesn't change, right? The whole goal of Sony is this road to zero. And if you look at our technology, our message, our packaging, everything we do is all around the sustainability message. It's as simple as we reduce paper in our boxes. We reduce all that stuff that gets thrown away. We reduce ink on the packaging material because that's reduce, that's just more savings going on. We find ways to reduce the size of the packaging material itself, which is going to help reduce carbon because you're going to reduce transportation costs. We look at ways to reduce the weight. Then we start getting into the product itself. It's reduction of power consumption. It's utilizing Storplast, which is a recycled plastic that Sony has on our product. We put in our Bravia displays this eco application, which shows you the carbon impact that the display has based on whatever features you have turned on and off. All those things. Then you look at just us as an organization and our focus, whether it's our investments, it's the way our people focus, it's all those different things. I mean, we always prided ourselves on finding ways to positively impact the world, the people, and honestly, Earth itself, right? And so we're always looking for ways to do that. And this road to zero is so important for us. And you're going to see, as you come into the Sony booth, the heart of our booth, the center of our booth, you're going to see two very large spaces that are going to tell the story about Sony and sustainability. And we work with different people like the SAVE organization, and we work with up and down within different government organizations and everything, and finding ways, how do we continue to challenge ourselves and challenge the industry, because it's not just us, but we want to be stewards and leaders of that change.
Right. Yeah. And so important for everyone, I think, to keep that message front and center. So really glad to hear that Sony's helping to take the lead on that in particular. Last question before we get you out of here. This is something we've been asking everyone, but what advice would you have for someone who might be attending InfoComm for the very first time?
Breathe. You're going to walk in, you're going to see a lot. It can be very overwhelming, especially those of us who may or may not have been to a trade show in a while. It's very overwhelming. Spend time. It doesn't matter, and it's going to sound weird for somebody with one of the larger booths of the show. It doesn't matter how big or how small the booth is. Listen, learn. You'd be amazed at the technology and the ideas you might find in a tiny little booth in the corner of the show, or in a little area inside a very large booth. There's a lot of just amazing technology out there. Listening, engaging, networking, build relationships, build partnerships. One of my favorite things I always tell everybody, especially when we bring in new employees who no experience in our industry, and I say, when you go there, just watch how people are engaging with each other, but not only that, but the product itself. The goal of a trade show isn't for someone to stand in front of you and say, buy my wares. The goal is to see how the product works, understand how it works, understand how you can use it and how it can benefit your business. And that's so critical at these events. And so, attending those, attending the sessions, the workshop sessions, and just really taking it all in, because this is a really unique industry. We cover everything from visual, audio, experiential, touching, feeling, cameras, you name it, right? This is one of the few industries where there's so many different angles to the technology.
That's fabulous. Yeah, great advice. And well, Rich, we can't wait to see you and get to see the Sony booth as well. I know, like I said, there's a whole lot of work that's going into it. So really appreciate your time today, and we'll be seeing you down in Orlando here real soon.
Definitely. We look forward to it.
Great. Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Well, Sam, I can tell you with the utmost confidence that I'm expecting nothing but cool things at this year's show, except for maybe the Florida humidity, but what can you do about that?
Oh my goodness, it's definitely more tropical weather there and makes for doing your hair for the show a little bit more challenging, but that's just one of the many things that makes Florida so great and something that you can share with all of your other AV colleagues and friends there. So I think that wraps up another engaging episode of The Road to InfoComm. Check us out on Avixa TV, as well as subscribe on your social media and podcast platforms of your choice. So I'm Samantha Powell. He's Dorian Taylor.
And we're on the road to InfoComm.